happened about 2 years ago when I was driving across the country to visit my cousin. I had just finished college and decided to take a few days off before starting my new job. Around 11 p.m., I realized I was almost out of gas. I was in the middle of nowhere, just miles of open road, no towns, no streetlights. My phone had died an hour ago, and my gas tank was just above empty. I hadn't seen another car in what felt like forever. The last road sign was so rusted I could barely read it, and the darkness was closing in fast. It was the kind of pitch black where even your headlights made things feel more isolated. At that moment, a thought hit me. What if I ran out of gas here? I'd be stuck with no way to call for help. No one would even know where to look. That's when I spotted an old, flickering sign that just said gas 1 mile. No name, no logo, just the word gas. I figured I'd take the chance. It wasn't like I had many options left anyway. A minute or two later, I pulled into what felt like the last place you'd ever want to stop at night. It seemed abandoned at first. The lights above the pump were dim, and there was an old building behind it with the windows boarded up. But the pump actually worked, so I got out to fill up. As I was pumping gas, I noticed something strange. The little digital screen on the pump wasn't showing the price. Instead, it was just flashing, "Don't look inside." I stared at it, thinking maybe I was just tired or seeing things. But then, the message changed and now it was flashing, "Leave now." That's when I felt it. That cold, crawling sensation in my chest, like something was seriously wrong. I turned to look at the building behind the pump and noticed one of the boards on the window had been pushed out from the inside. There were deep, jagged scratches on the frame, like someone had tried to claw their way out. I didn't even bother topping off the tank. I yanked the nozzle out, jumped in my car, and sped off. My hands were shaking, and I kept checking the rearview mirror like something might be following me. A few miles later, I passed a real gas station. A modern one, with lights and people inside. I pulled in just to calm down. Inside, I asked the cashier about the other gas station down the road. He looked confused and said, "There's no other station out here, not for at least 60 miles. You must be mistaken." Something in me went quiet. A cold chill ran through me as the words sank in. I walked back to my car, sat behind the wheel, and checked the gas gauge. It was full, even though I'd barely pumped anything before I ran from that place. I just kept driving, afraid that whatever was there might follow me. I didn't stop until I reached my cousin's place. Exhausted, still shaken, but safe. To this day, I've never taken that route again, and I never will. I don't care what anyone says. That place was real, and something inside that boarded-up building didn't want me looking in. Whatever it was, I'm just glad I didn't find out. I've been hiking for years. Solo, group, off-trail. You name it. I know how to read the land, listen to the woods, and respect the silence. So when I found a barely mentioned path online, buried in an old forum, I was intrigued. No reviews, no photos. Just one line. No one goes there anymore. That only made me more curious. I've always preferred the places others avoid. That's where you find the real peace, or so I thought. The trail didn't feel right from the start. No birds, no small animals darting through the brush. Just quiet. Thick, weird quiet. But I've dealt with remote terrain before, so I pressed on. By late evening, I reached a sloped clearing and set up camp. No service, no signals. It was fine, I'd planned for that. Made dinner, noted a few things in my log. When I zipped up for the night, it was just another night alone in the wild. Nothing new. Then I woke up around 2 a.m., not because of any noise or movements, just this strange feeling, like the air had gotten heavy all of a sudden. Hard to explain. Then I heard footsteps, slow, dragging ones, moving outside my tent. They circled once, then again. I stayed completely still, thinking maybe it was an animal. But then they stopped right behind me, and I could hear breathing, not loud or erratic, just calm, steady breaths. Too controlled to be from any animal. Then came the touch. Something dragged across the side of the tent, tracing it with a fingertip. Not scratching, feeling. I reached for my flashlight, but stopped myself. I didn't want whatever it was to know I was awake. I just lay there, eyes wide open, heart pounding like a drum. The brushing stopped. Silence again. Then footsteps slowly walking away. You might wonder why I didn't run, didn't scream, didn't burst out of that tent the moment I could. Truth is, I couldn't. I was frozen, dead scared. The kind of fear that sinks into your bones and locks every muscle in place. I've faced wild animals, storms, even injuries far from help, but this was something different. I wasn't just scared of what was out there. I was scared of knowing what it was. At first light, I grabbed whatever I could and just got ready to leave. I didn't want to stick around, but when I stepped out of the tent, I froze. Right there on the ground were 3 small dolls, made from sticks and scraps of cloth, nothing fancy, but clearly someone made them on purpose. Each one had an old needle stuck through it, and they were all facing my tent. I just stood there, staring at them. Didn't touch them. Didn't even want to get close. I got this awful feeling in my chest, and I ran. I left everything. Just ran until I was out of the woods. I still don't know why that man, or whatever it was, circled around my tent and left those 3 dolls out front. I even searched online to see if the dolls meant something, but I found nothing. Maybe he wasn't there to hurt me. Maybe the dolls were some kind of warning. Or maybe he planned to do something worse, but changed his mind at the last second. Either way, I don't think it was random. Something stopped him, and I don't think I'll ever know why. Ray and I have been friends since school. We've always had a thing for exploring old places, abandoned houses, train yards, stuff like that. Nothing serious, just something to do on weekends. We came across this old state asylum while scrolling through a forum about forgotten spots. Folks in the comments said something bad happened there, though no one ever said what. Just that it was left to rot. Some of the comments were from people who said they'd been out there. A few claimed they saw figures in the windows. One said they heard faint screaming, like it came from somewhere deep inside. Most of them said they turned back before going in. Honestly, it all sounded like the usual internet exaggeration to us. People trying to make it sound scarier than it was. We figured it'd be like the others, dusty, broken, maybe a little creepy. We weren't expecting anything real. We never explored at night, too risky. Places like that fall apart over time, and it's easy to miss something dangerous in the dark. So we went during the day, like always. Packed a couple flashlights, gloves, water, just the usual stuff. The place was out near the edge of town, and surprisingly, the road leading up to it was still drivable. No gates, no signs, nothing to stop us. We pulled right up to the front and parked in what used to be the lot. The building just sat there, quiet, sunken in, like it had been waiting. We stepped out and looked it over. The building was old, concrete walls, broken windows, some boarded up. We climbed the steps and pushed the door open. Inside, it smelled musty. The floor was hard and dirty, glass crunching under our boots. A broken ceiling tile lay nearby. The place was dead quiet, so quiet, even our breathing felt loud. We moved slowly through the place, stepping carefully over scattered debris. Most of the rooms were what you'd expect, treatment areas, small offices, and long, empty corridors. Some walls were flaking with peeling paint, while others had odd, faded stains. Every door we opened let out a creak that made us hesitate. One room held a row of bare hospital beds, the mattresses long gone. Another had a wall covered in scratch marks. We didn't say much, just kept taking it all in. There was this long hallway toward the back. Most of the doors were half open, like someone had checked them all and left in a hurry. But the last door, all the way at the end, looked off. It wasn't busted or hanging loose like the others. It was closed, clean almost, and the light from the hallway didn't seem to reach under it. Ray looked at me, then walked toward it without saying anything. I followed, even though something about it made my skin feel tight. He grabbed the handle and pushed it open. It was pitch black inside, no windows, no light. Just this heavy dark, like the room swallowed everything. We stood there for a second, squinting, trying to make out anything. And then, out of nowhere, a scream tore through the silence. My heart slammed against my ribs as the scream tore through the silence. It was loud, close, and distorted, like it came from a woman whose voice had been twisted by something evil. Ray and I immediately turned and ran down the hallway. It felt like something was chasing us, but we didn't look back. Every dark doorway felt like it was hiding something watching us as we sprinted toward the exit. Our lungs burned, and all we wanted was to get out. We didn't stop running until we were outside, back in the daylight, catching our breath. Neither of us spoke. We just kept heading for the car. But then Ray suddenly stopped. "Dude," he said, his voice low as he pointed toward a third-floor window. I followed his gaze. There was something up there, a figure, still and silent, just standing in the shadows. We couldn't make out a face, only the shape of someone watching us. The room behind it wasn't just dark, it was pitch black, unnaturally black. We didn't stick around to get a better look. We jumped in the car, locked the doors, and drove off in silence. I still don't know what we saw in there. Maybe it was just our minds playing tricks on us. But that scream, it still haunts me.